Super Dragon Ball Heroes is ending, but what does that mean for their characters being transferred over to Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2, since they will no longer appear in the new Dragon Ball Super Divers arcade game? Hello everyone, it's me again, Steedoji here, back to more Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 news. And in general, we're going to be talking about how Dragon Ball Heroes is ending and how the Dragon Ball Super Divers arcade game is starting. And what does that mean for the Dragon Ball Heroes characters? Now, naturally, I don't know if you guys saw the trailer, I'm probably playing it right now in the intro, but the Dragon Ball Heroes service is actually ending after 13 long years. Dragon Ball Heroes is finally coming to a close, which is very sad. This was actually confirmed by the producer, Akai, for Dragon Ball Heroes. So many producers and directors that work on Dragon Ball in general. Can I just say it's great that we have this many heads working on Dragon Ball? I would have really liked to have someone like Akai probably working on Xenoverse too, but well, let's not get too distracted. Akai, either way, has decided he will discontinue Dragon Ball Super Heroes. This is probably also coming from several other facets in Toei and Bandai Namco, etc., right? But in general, it's kind of surprising because this game was massively successful and this is coming to a close. But the question is, I wonder if their characters are going to get transferred over to Xenoverse 2 finally. Since the Dragon Ball Heroes material and art actually has nowhere to go, it's actually not going to Dragon Ball Super Divers either. Most likely, the resources for Dragon Ball Heroes actually end up in Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2. Because Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 is the only other Dragon Ball game that kind of messes with this whole time manipulating thingamajiggy. And it's also the only game that actually needs this content that badly. While Dokkan did do a lot of Dragon Ball Super Hero stuff, it was mostly just collabs. And even then, they took only very few units from Dragon Ball Heroes and actually moved them to Dokkan Battle. And they're only available like once a year and like lose relevance kind of quick when the next units come out. However, in Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2, Dragon Ball Heroes units will live forever, and I think it has more reason to be in Xenoverse 2. Also due to the fact that Toa and Mira from the Xenoverse series actually ends up having a child in Dragon Ball Heroes called Fu, but we first saw adult Fu in Xenoverse. So the series are also already like kind of close, right? The fact that they don't just like full-on collab and stuff like that is pretty weird to me, but with Heroes ending and the Dragon Ball Super Divers starting, there's a good chance that Dragon Ball Heroes stuff might end up in, again, Xenoverse 2, because it's apparently not going to Dragon Ball Divers right away. Dragon Ball Divers is going to have a new story as well as everything else, meaning that if you were a fan of characters like Golden Cooler and Limit Breaker, SSJ4 and all these other cool stuff, I think it is kind of just development down the drain. It just doesn't exist anymore. And if something is massively successful as Dragon Ball Super Divers can come to an end, then you know, it's only a matter of time until Dokkan comes to an end too. Since it's basically guaranteed, there's never going to be a gacha that's so successful that lives throughout all of time, except maybe Fate, but we don't talk about Fate. This is a Dragon Ball channel. Let's forget about Fate. So yeah, I'm hoping that Dragon Ball Heroes content will actually land in Xenoverse 2, because I feel like most of it should be really easy to do. They could just take inspiration from the Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 modders, like they clearly do with some other official Xenoverse 2 stuff. Or they could just reuse movesets again, like Limit Breaker SSJ4 can just fight like regular SSJ4, but have an entirely new super attack set. You know, stuff like that. I would like to see stuff like that. Now, I'm not entirely sure about how Japanese fans feel about this, because to my knowledge, I don't think Super Dragon Ball Heroes was really too playable outside of Japan. But there's a lot of English speakers who are really, really upset about this, because naturally, again, it's kind of a lot to hear that a game that was playable for 13 years is going to be unplayable now. And it's not even like it was doing it financially poorly, apparently. It was doing phenomenally well. And they were like, just close it. So I think they just have a lot more confidence in Dragon Ball Super Divers. Or maybe Dragon Ball Super Divers is easier to make and maintain. Who knows? But they're putting all of their eggs into the, well, they're putting the Dragon Ball Super Hero, their Super Dragon Ball Heroes eggs into the Dragon Ball Divers baskets. But based on the tweets that Super Chronicles received in his replies to the official posts, people are not very happy about this. There are some people saying that doesn't seem like a good idea to me. Like, it's cool that there'll be, you know, a way to play Dragon Ball Heroes again slightly, but why are they going to discontinue it? So Dragon Ball Heroes will still exist in some minor form in Super Divers through some modes called the Heroes mode. It sounds like it's going to be like the absolute bare minimum, kind of like Xenoverse 2 going, oh yeah, we'll have Xenoverse 1 missions playable for Xenoverse 2, but it's just part of like the Legends pack, so you have to pay money for it. And it's like, oh, okay, you know, I already bought Xenoverse 1 and I have to buy Xenoverse 1 again for Xenoverse 2. That doesn't make a lot of sense. So yeah, there's just a lot of people who are not very happy about it. There's another comment actually saying, would Divers continue the hero story? It'd be a shame if all the characters in development, this is what I was saying earlier as well, it'd be a shame if all the characters in development that Heroes were given were lost. Although it's very strange and some people may not like it, there are really things that I loved. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff from Dragon Ball Heroes that people are going to miss. And I don't know if Dragon Ball Super Divers is going to have an original story. So far, they've only just done a teaser for it. So we don't know. We don't know what that's going to be like. But for people who, again, were big fans of all the characters and the developments they had going on, right? Like Turles and Raditz, I do believe, are pretty different in Dragon Ball Heroes. I think especially Turles. Turles is like like he develops into a good guy in that one. You know, you got things like the no, I'm not gonna say Gohan Black, but like the Gohan from like the Dark timeline, as well as Masked Saiyan, right? Everyone's favorite, Masked Saiyan. Yeah, you just have a lot of things that are just gonna be lost to time when Super Divers comes around. Here's another one. We got one from Melody saying, "Geez, I'm gonna miss Heroes. How's the story gonna end? Beat, Note, and the rest of the characters, are they just gonna retire? I'm also not a huge fan of triple screen thing. The edges break the immersion for me compared to the single screen Heroes had." So yeah, again, Super Divers' screens for the arcades are like triple screens instead of single screens. But another thing is that this announcement did come out of nowhere. So I don't even think that at the end of the story for Dragon Ball Heroes, they're just like, screw it, we're gonna just end it like here, I guess. Which means I think the guy that Vegito Blue, the Kaioken Vegito Blue is fighting, the guy who's like inside Gohan's body right now or something, right? Or he's pretending to be Gohan. I don't remember how it goes. I think he adapts like different fighters like fighting styles, and because of that he takes on their shape too. But Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken Vegeto's fighting that guy. I don't know if the story is gonna end right there after he beats that guy, or if there's gonna be like a few more stories to like quickly try and wrap it up as soon as possible, as if it was like some cancelled manga or something. On Twitter, too, the feeling is pretty much the same. Well, I mean, all across Twitter, the feeling is pretty much the same. People in general are just surprised after 13 years, 13 and a half, apparently. Yes, Super Dragon Ball Heroes is officially just coming to an end. Super Dragon Ball or Dragon Ball Super Divers is going to replace it. But again, we don't know how similar that's going to be to Dragon Ball or Super Dragon Ball Heroes, because they aren't using a lot of the material from Super Dragon Ball Heroes. So stuff like Limit Breaker, SSJ4, Golden Cooler, none of that stuff could even reappear in Super Divers unless if they really feel like referencing it, right? Maybe if they run out of material or new material to work with. So that's kind of shocking. On the offhand, though, Super Divers has a lot of stuff to give back to the Dragon Ball community. Super Divers will most likely have collabs of Dragon Ball Dokkan Battle. I don't believe Heroes had any collabs of Dragon Ball Z with Dragon Ball Legends, but I'm hoping Super Divers at least has one collab with Dragon Ball Legends, right, where Heroes didn't. But Xenoverse 2 should get some, maybe it might get some characters from it again. Don't forget Fu started as a thing in Dragon Ball Heroes, right? He was the baby of Tora and Mira. But we saw Adult Fu first in Xenoverse 2, which is, I mean, Adult Fu is literally so important to Xenoverse 2 that several plots for the next DLC, actually for the rest of the DLCs after he showed up, wouldn't happen if he wasn't added to the game, right? Or at least the plots would be very different. They would still probably want to add the characters, but they wouldn't have a good enough story or reason as to why it's happening. But with Fu, there's a pretty convincing way to actually get these stories and characters into Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2. And that's just with what they did with a very minor mentioned character in Heroes, which is, you know, the son of Tora and Mira. I wonder if Super Divers can give us stories like that, because it's clearly not going to do the same thing. So there's going to be like no prison planet, none of all these characters, no hearts, you know, no Jiren versus Fused Zamasu, no UI Goku fighting like other gods. It's like just insane to think that like it's gonna change that much. I mean, of course, the people in the West, this is like, it doesn't matter too much, right? But for the people in the East, this must be shocking. Either way, I think that's a pretty good place to end the video. Again, shocking news all around to hear that Dragon Ball Heroes is actually ending in any capacity, but I guess it'd be like that sometimes, for lack of a better word. But yeah, hopefully we get to see Dragon Ball Heroes characters in Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2, because again, they are running out of stuff for Xenoverse 2, so I can easily see them adding Heroes characters, maybe after the 4 new DLC, you know, the future saga chapters, but we'll have to wait and see. So for now, that'll be it. I do love you all. I hope you guys all enjoyed, and I will see you all next time. Take care and peace.